Bye. You can see more Trictionaries as well as behind-the-scenes footage on the top rows, video from the biggest events, the craziest tricks, and the biggest wrecks, all at BFD.com. Well, before the Trictionary, I mentioned that Simon's had success on the Action Sports World Tour. The guy's been absolutely dominant in the international events, and he's been very strong at the LG Finals each and every year as well.
Yeah, Simon's one of those veterans you can always count on. Definite threat to the podium every time he drops in, and the master of the 900.
With a nice no-handed 540. By the way, Simon doing this brakeless. You don't see too many guys on the vert ramp running no brakes, but Simon doing it here.
Simon and Hoffman, the two guys that have really worked that out in vert, but you're right, not too many people willing to give that a shot. You can't slow down once you're going.
You see that how far he drifted on that alley-oop 540. Alley-oop means you're in the air, you're drifting the opposite direction that you're turning. He traveled a couple of sheets of skate light on that one. And there you go, the 900. Look at that landing.
Look how clean that was, straight into a flare. Simon has that trick more dialed than anyone in the history of BMX.
It wasn't that long ago when you'd see guys throwing 900s at the end of their runs when they're completely gassed and just landing on the flat bottom. Simon's doing tricks out of them nowadays.
Nice little invert flare. Again, it's important to land near the top of the ramp as high as you can. Keeps your speed, maintains your height. And here's the 9. 2.5 spins. Hoffman, the first guy to ever do this, and Simon's perfected it.
Look at how smooth he landed that thing, and like I said, he got speed out of it, and he did a flare coming out of it. He ends up with a 90 flat, and that is our second highest score of the comp thus far. That puts him in second place right now behind Chad Kagi. But here we go, the most dominant rider in BMX vert, Jamie Bestwick, set to take his first of 2 runs here, and this guy can light up a vert ramp. Taking a look back at last year's championships in Dallas, Texas, look at how high that invert 540 was. He was over the railing, and as we mentioned at the top of the show, he's won this thing every year he's participated in it. The one time he hasn't was 2006, and that's because he didn't show up. So is he going to add himself another gold medal to his trophy case? We're going to find out here in the next 45 seconds. And watch the height factor when this guy comes down the roll-in and blasts into his setup airs.
Really hard to put into words how good Jamie is at vert. He really defines what good vert style is, and he does it with every single trick.
And he's also about the combo moves. There's one right there, the bar spin to turn down.
Huge tail up. He lands everything at the top of the ramp, goes higher than just about anybody, and he keeps it throughout his run.
See him on that turn down flare. Both wheels landed on the sticker tape just under the coping. You don't see anybody landing flares that high, really.
Huge.
Look at that.
Alley-oop 5.
And look at the size of that downside tail whip, and he did an X-up out of it.
Yeah, that's part of the Jamie magic. He puts little twists on incredible tricks and just makes them look so good.
And how about an opposite flare to cap off the run? Going the wrong way for him. That downside tail whip was over the railing, and those railings are 8 feet.
Yeah, like I said, he defines vert style. He did a 540 invert in this run that is just as good as I've ever seen anybody do it.
And when he does those, he holds on to it as long as you possibly can on that trick.
Huge tail up way out, throws in a one-hander, one-footer. Another little special Jamie add-on to that trick to give it his own special style. Huge downside whip. He's 8.5, 9 feet out and has time to throw in an X-up. And one of his signature moves, the fast plant flare, he invented it years ago, has it wired, throws it at the end of his run, just a little bit more icing.
I did not see him put his foot down at real-time speed on the opposite fast plant flare, but it nets him a 93 flat, and it's no surprise he is on top of things at the end of round 1. And taking a look at the Paul Mitchell leaderboard, Jamie Bestwick in familiar territory, and Chad Kagi and Simon Tabron nipping at his heels. But how about Steve McCann? He's all the way down in 13th. Remember, he rolled in and had the broken chain there, Steve, and what a fluke thing that was.
Yeah, you know, Stevie will be on it in his second run, and he'll definitely move up the leaderboard.
Round 2 still to come. Keep in mind it's best run counts, and all 13 riders get one more crack at it. Will we see another championship run out of Jamie Bestwick? We'll find out when we come back.
Attention all units, this is the LG Action Sports World Championship.
Welcome back inside Key Arena on the vert ramp. Round 2 of the BMX vert final. You're looking at Austin Coleman. First run score was an 82.50. Austin, a guy that's been normally known as a street/park rider, really made a name for himself in the vert ranks over the last 2 seasons, and he's got some pretty explosive tricks in his arsenal.
He does. He's got some original moves we haven't seen in vert until Austin Coleman came along and started busting out. Huge downside whip, one of the big tricks in Austin's tool bag.
He had a rough go with some variations in his first run. That's why he's down there in the low 80s. And again, he's another one of those guys that can put it together going to the left and the right. As a matter of fact, watching this run, it's hard to tell which is Austin's normal direction. That was a double downside whip.
Only guy to do that trick. And he's really come on strong early in the 08 season, and guys definitely took notice and said, hey man, Austin stepped it up. We got to make sure and keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he's a busy guy, goes to all the major competitions, spends a lot of time out on the road doing shows. Relocated himself to Greenville, North Carolina to ride with some of the best the industry has to offer.
Check out the flare way out of the ramp, spots his landing right where he wants to be, up near the top. And here's the downside whip, twice around. Austin, the only guy to do that trick in BMX vert.
That's just absolutely insane that he's able to do a double downside whip like that and just make it look super clean. 85.25. It is an improvement, however, not by much. He had a couple of slip-ups and landed low on that run, so that definitely counting against his score. Here we go with Francisco Zarita, a.k.a. Coco. He had a pretty solid run. He was in the lead for a while, set the bar the early part of round number 1. What do you think here, Steve? Maybe fire off the triple tail whip attempt again?
He can do it. I don't know, but it's going to take something like that to get him up with those top 3 guys.
It's the new flare variation out of Coco for 2008. A nice turn down flare. He threw the turn down in rather late on that.
You know, something I really noticed at this event, riders love the ramp. They all are going really high. They don't have to worry about hanging up. They've all commented how perfect this ramp is.
Some more combo moves from Francisco here. There's a tail whip to turn down. Another new one for him. 2008, the high mark to beat right now, a 93 flat set by Jamie Bestwick. And there's the buzzer right there. That's going to do it for Francisco. I don't know that he's actually tried the triple whip in practice or in a competition since the injury last year at the X Games. But a very solid performance here at the 2008 LG Action Sports World Championships.
Yeah, nice run for Coco. He's got a few more things in his bag of tricks, but you know, you want to end the season healthy. You can do a lot of training and practicing in the off season to get ready for the fall or the next year. Maybe that's what he was thinking. But another good run. Love to see this guy ride. Great style.
Gets an 87.50. Not going to make the podium, but a great way to cap off the 2008 season.
Zach Warden up for run 2. Before we see that run, we're going to take a look back to earlier in the week where he and some of the other athletes from the event got a chance to give back to the local community. They went to Fort Lewis Military Base for a meet and greet autograph session.
Well, right now, a group of us are at Fort Lewis, and we're just doing autograph signing for some of the troops and their family, and it's turned out pretty good. There was a nice line giving out some free tickets and having a good time. I come from a military family, so it's always nice to support the troops. You know, they're out there fighting for us, and you know, they're making it to where I can ride bikes and make a living. So I support them and appreciate all the work they do for us.
So Zach Warden and some of the other athletes at this event giving back to the local community here in the greater Seattle area. Here we go with his second and final run. Remember, run number 1 for him, he had the bike flip, but he fumbled the grab and basically avoided disaster on that one. We'll see if we get the windshield wiper or the hand plant out of him here in run number 2.
What I like so far is he's really kept his height up, got a couple of big tricks in already. Like we said, Zach has a ton of potential, just has to get a full run together, and as he matures a little bit, you can really see him start to figure it out. Huge bike flip there.
Got that one down clean, although I thought he got a bit of a better landing out of it in the first run. He got more speed out of it in run number 1. This one kind of slowed down his tempo a little bit.
Couple of toboggan airs, double tail whip there, lands everything clean to a nice downside whip.
I was going to mention, you mentioned a couple of toboggan airs. I was going to say, we've seen a repeat on that trick. There's the hand plant.